Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to the BNS channel. My name is EdieAnne. I can pretty much guarantee that a lot of you have these kinds of questions. What does it take to be a leader? What do I need to do? How do I get there? What do I need to say? How long is it going to take? How many people do I have to have in my team? How much am I supposed to be selling? These are all questions, and can I just add that these are questions that come to me from people who are very eager to succeed. They want to get there yesterday. And I love working with those people too, because they just have such drive and such passion to get where they want to be. Now, just to kind of back up a little, I'm going to be talking about Scentsy and Velata specifically. And this video was sparked by one of my lovely teamies, Ashley, who's extremely eager to become a leader and to become a director. And her question pretty much was, how do I get from point A to point B? Tell me what I gotta do, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna get there. So I got something to share, okay? First of all, there's no script. There's no path of least resistance. There's no specific magical course that needs to be taken. And you'll have to excuse the notifications because I'm doing this on my phone and whatever. There's no magical course that you can take to get you to be a leader or to get you to be a director. And the reason that I say that is because everybody is so different. You have different levels of motivation. There's different levels of character. There's different levels of passion for the business or for the product. There's different levels of, what you're able to do through your knowledge or through your past experiences. Maybe something has happened in the past that's holding you back, and not everybody's dealing with that. So there's no rhyme or reason specifically to get you to from point A to point B. However, there are some key components that if everybody were to participate in those key components, you would eventually get to that leadership role. Now, the very first one, and this is something that I discussed with her on our team page already, is patience, right? And I could not have said it more beautifully than our own Susan, director in Canada, said and replied to her on the team page. And I'd like to read that to you because I think it's extremely important to understand where you're at, okay? She goes, I know this question wasn't directed for me, but if I may, Ashley, I think you are just like me. You signed up and wanted to be a director right away. Don't go too fast. You'll get there, maybe slowly, but surely. It took me 2 years. Share, Scentsy, and your story with everyone and anyone that will listen. I confess, it's a bit disappointing hitting your director numbers and falling back down to SSC. So build your team and put your energy on teammates who want this as much as you do. Don't sell Scentsy, share it. Brand yourself always and share with everyone who wants to listen what Scentsy has done for you and what blessing it has been for you. Okay, so I guess the biggest part of that I want to take away is the patience part. Don't try to do it too fast. It can happen, and it can be very fast. I look at her, it took her 2 years. Some people, it's taken 6 years to be director. It took me 9 months. It took other people 6 months, 3 months. See, but I mean, though, it's so different with everybody. So I guess the key component that I can give you is definitely patience, and make sure that all of your ducks are in a row, because if you get to those director numbers and you can't maintain them, it's going to be much more depressing and much more unmotivating to be demoted because you didn't keep your numbers or you didn't reach those numbers as much as you should have. So part of that suggestion is going to be with patience is that you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success, not for failure, right? So building your team is obviously going to be the biggest part of getting to director. Your sales are very important for your income. It's also very important for you to have sales or parties so that you can get out there and share the opportunity with people, right? You need to be able to be in front of people to have those conversations and to build those relationships so that you can offer them the opportunity. Okay, so the sales and the booking parties is a really important part, but the recruiting aspect is going to be huge when it comes to building your team and becoming director or even superstar director. Okay, so make sure that you don't overcomplicate things too. Okay, so that's another thing that I want to address. Patience is huge, but overcomplicating things can be so overwhelming. You know, if you think that you have to have a step-by-step plan, the only steps that you need is knowing that you have to sponsor and you have to share and sponsor. Sponsor and share. There's only two things that you really need to do, right? Sharing the product or sharing the opportunity doesn't make a difference. It's the same, and it's all going to lead into that basket that gets you to directorship. So when you think you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing, but yet you're sharing and selling or sharing the product and the opportunity, you really are. And you need to do that with everyone, right? So those are the two main things that your business should consist of to get to director. Okay, so that's like the overall bucket or the overall umbrella of getting to directorship. You have to build your team and you got to build your sales. Two main things, right? So the other thing that is really important is to be a good leader once you do have people on your team. So once you do have people on your team, the best thing that you can do is lead by example. And what does that mean? That means that you're sharing the products and sharing the opportunities so that you can teach them to do the same thing. You know, being a good leader doesn't necessarily mean answering all their questions. It doesn't necessarily mean holding their hands. It means giving them the resources that they need, giving them a point in a direction to find the answers that they need so that they can become good leaders and do the same thing, right? So patience, sharing the product and the opportunity, and not overthinking it. Okay, not overthinking it, and then being a team leader by leading by example. You know, I say this adage all the time. I can lead people to water, but I can't make them drink it. And the reason that I say that a lot, or the meaning behind that means I can give you all of the education that you need. I can give you abundance of knowledge. But what you do with that knowledge, I have no control over. That is totally up to you, right? So being a good leader means, you know, making sure that you're showing them the ropes, and the ropes in our business is sharing the product and the opportunity. It always goes back to that. There's only two simple things that you need to do. Share the product and share the opportunity. But that means you need to do it with everyone. You can't be picky and choosy. You can't say, oh, I don't think they'll be interested, because they probably are. Okay? So point A is where you are right now. Point B is where you want to be. And in the middle, all you're doing is sharing product and opportunities. Eventually, you're going to get there. You know, at one point, and don't get me wrong, I am totally that kind of person. Tell me, how many team members do I need to have so that I know about when I'm going to become a director? Again, it's not that simple. Because there are people who are directors who have 10 people on their team. And there are people that just made director and they have 200 people on their team. It all depends on how the team is doing. So if they're sharing opportunities and products with people, and their recruits are sharing products and opportunity with people, then the cycle is going to perpetuate and it's going to grow and you're going to get to where you need to be. So the leading by example is truly a remarkable spot to focus on. Because if you're not teaching your people to do it, they're not teaching their people to do it, and they're not teaching their people to do it. And that's when you have a break, and that's all of a sudden when you've got 200 people and you're just making director, right? So, and I know that's hard for some people to hear, but I mean, I look at me, it's the same thing in a sense. We've got 400 people in our group, and I'm a star director. There are people that are superstar directors with a heck of a lot less people in their group than I have. So it depends on the people in the group, right? And their sponsors and their leaders. And bottom line, you can be the best leader you can possibly be. And if they don't do anything, then it has nothing to do with you, right? You can lead them up to that brook, and you can put the water in your hands and say, here, drink. And they don't. There's nothing you can do about that, right? So the only control that you have is your own. So you're going to share the product, and you're going to share the opportunity with everybody. And as your team grows, you teach them to do the same thing. If you watched my video on the 2-year plan, where you get 2 recruits per month and $2,000 per month, and if you do that consecutively for every month for 2 years, and you teach your recruits to do that consecutively every month for 2 years, and they teach their recruits to do that every month for 2 years, then you will be making as much as a doctor and a lawyer. It needs to not be broken. The equation can't be broken in order for that to happen. It's the same respect here. You've got to teach your people to do what you're doing, and teach them to teach their people to do what they're doing. It's a cycle of perpetualness. Is that a word? So are there some numbers that you can start seeing some changes? Sure. If you've got the majority of your team that's active doing 150 PRV, if you've got a majority of people who are, at least doing 1 party or 2 parties a month, and your active frontline is pretty much anywhere between 70 and 100% all the time, you're looking at maybe if you've got 50 people on your team, that you're going to start being a lot closer to director numbers. Think about it. If you break down the numbers, okay, it takes, you need to have 10,000 TWV in order to be a director. Well, that calculates to about 13,333 PRV to be director, okay? So if you take that, let's say 13,000 to make it even, you take 13,000 and you divide that out, okay? If you have 13 people on your team that are consistently doing $1,000 or 1,000 PRV a month, you're probably going to make director. But out of 13 people, you're probably not going to get all 13 that do 1,000, right? So that's where it comes into, the basis of evaluation, the basis of equation to say, if I've got maybe 5 of them that are doing 1,000, then I need to break up the other 5 and say, well, how much should they be doing? So if you're a numbers-oriented person, do the math, okay? If you need 13,000, or let's say 14,000 PRV from your whole team to make director, then how many people is it going to take to do that are consistent and that are going to give that amount every month, okay? 14 people is not going to be enough. It's just not. So that's why at 50, you can feel a little bit more comfortable with saying, if I can get that 13 people out of the 50 to do $1,000 in a month, it might be more doable. You have to have a lot of rock stars, right? And 1,000 is not a lot because you want them to do 2,000 anyway. But there's a lot of part-timers. There's a lot of people that are only doing this for their own discount. They're only doing this as a part-time gig. So you'll be lucky to get 150 to 500 out of them, right? So let's do the math. If we have all part-timers, I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. 14,000 divided by 150, that's 93 people, okay? So if you have 93 people all doing 150 a month, you're going to hit director numbers. See the difference? Okay? So you need to know your team. You need to know why they're joining Scentsy. What are they trying to accomplish in this? That's part of being a leader, is understanding your team and what they want. You know, I know Ashley wants to be a director, but I know some other people on my team just want to do this as a part-time gig. That's all they want it for. Maybe even just to be able to buy stuff for themselves, right? So know that there's no path of least resistance. There's no path of least resistance that is always going to be accessible. Okay. The closest that I can get you is to say, if you continue to share the product and share the opportunity and teach your new people that you recruit to share the product and share the opportunity, you'll be leading by example. You'll be showing them what they need to do, and hopefully they're going to do the same thing. Okay? Don't make it more complicated than it is, because it's really not. Okay? And as long as you've got the passion to do this, and as long as you know where to find your answers, right? Have the resources available. Have the people that you can connect with, that you can rant and rave with, that you can vent to, right? Have all of those sources and resources available, but maintain the passion and the drive and know your why. Because as long as you know your why, the drive will always push you, right? Know your why, keep the passion, share the product, share the opportunity, and teach your people to do the same thing. That's about it, okay? And share with everyone. Everybody needs this opportunity. Don't be selfish and hold this opportunity to yourself or to people just that you think might fit it. That's very selfish. Offer it to everyone, because you have no idea what's happening behind the doors of their home and how this could change their lives, right? I know you guys got this. Be patient, share the product, share the opportunity, teach your people to do the same thing. Okay? You got this. I want to hear the celebrations. I want to hear your successes. I want to know when you promote. Let me know. Bye.